that diamond from Africa. And I'm here to put to you that that diamond is African. It came from African soil. Indeed, it must return back to African soil, to the Africans who owns that diamond. So when they put Cullinan, you think, oh, they tried to sort of put some sort of provenance and things on it. It isn't. This is a clear-cut case of stealing, and the man that started all of that process was, of course, Cecil Rhodes. The words that he stated, and I'm quoting him with direct words. Rhodes' view was that black people have needed. Let me say it again. Rhodes' view was that black people needed to be driven off their land. Their land, not his land, not foreign land, not UK land, off African land. Africans need to be driven off African land, off their own land. He admits that, obviously, the words he said, their land. So he agrees that it's African land, but we are going to be driven off. On what ground? Who give them that power? How would you as a UK person feel to be driven off your land by somebody that comes and says that's your land? How would you feel? That's what he's done. And he even put what he said is what is happening to Africans in Africa in many parts based on what he said. He said, stimulate them to labor and to change their habits. It must be brought home to them. Rhodes said that in future, 9/10 of them will have to spend their lives in manual labor. So he is dictating the lives that the people who are Africans, whose ancestors have been in that land forever, for eons, dictating to them that they're going to have manual labor. And what is happening now as a result of him using that Land Reform Act that he brought in, that's exactly what's happened. Many Africans, particularly in South Africa, are in manual labor, but they don't know it. These are the kind of things we need to bring together. So this man here clearly has racist views and a very, very, he has a deep hatred for Africans on African soil. It's not acceptable on any level. Had it been that Africans were on his UK soil, British soil, and he was. So you will see King Edward, I think it is, if I'm correct. I'm not sure. I think it may be King Edward. I'm not sure. Before and that's the Queen Mother there. So let's pause it. Pause it right there. That's the Queen Mother. That's the Queen there, and her sister is on the, to the right of her. And I'm not quite sure what that man is. They were all there to see the grave of Cecil Rhodes. And there's a reason why they are at that grave. Because it was through his reforms that stripped Africans of the land that Thomas Cullinan was able to buy that land on the cheap from another South African, another foreigner who was able to get that land on the cheap because of the laws that was imposed by Cecil Rhodes on Africans, that we couldn't own our own land in Africa. And he's trying to claim that it's an European. No, it's Africa. And for a man, I want you to look at the grave. For a man who detests Africans, and the words, again, I'm going to read the words to you so that it actually makes, for a man who detests, who says Rhodes' view, his views was that black people needed to be driven off their land. Stimulate them to labor and to change their habits. It must be brought home to them. Rhodes said that in future, 9/10 of them will have to spend their lives in manual labor. And the sooner that is brought home to them, the better. The man who said those words, equally eager for himself to be buried amongst the very people he hates. That's irony for you, isn't it? So he wants the land, he doesn't want the people. But the land and the people are one. And that is the fact. And that's why we're bringing this. So we say loud no to the Cullinan diamond on coronation of the King, King Charles. Now, let's proceed. Let us proceed. So we're going to watch the video. We posted there again. That's the Queen Anne, Queen Consort Anne, I think it is. If I'm correct, I can't remember. Queen Mother, and then the Scottish, and the Queen Elizabeth and her sister. I can't remember her name again, but anyway, They were all there. So, and that the grave there is Cecil Rhodes in the picture. Let me bring that picture back again because we need to connect everything. We have to connect the dots. So now let's do that now. Sorry about that. Oops. Okay, so let's play on. So now here we go. They're better. You can get a better picture. So there, the Queen, her sister, not quite sure who that is, and her mom. And that's the big grave of Cecil Rhodes. So let's carry on. So you will see them moving towards the grave, and they were looking. So they were telling a story. Again, keep in mind, this man didn't like black people. So what's he doing on black soil? Why is he buried on black soil? He should be buried in Bishop Stotford. If it hits the vial that he's spewing out against us black people on our land, he shouldn't be on that land. Based purely on what he said, we judge a man by his words. The amendment of South Africa that was aimed at regulating acquisition of land, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, the Native Land Act of 1913 defined less than 1/10 of South Africa as black reserves and prohibited any purchase. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find the rest. Is that the key? Let's go into it. Oh, okay. So it in effect it's restricted the ability of black people to buy land. It prohibited it. So this is racism. Everything I'm telling you now is all racism. And look at Cullinan now. Let's go and look at that. Thomas Cullinan is the name. So he was, we're not interested in where he was born. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested. Cape Colony, all of them was moving in today. Now, the key thing you need to understand now is that there was a guy called Joachim Prinsloo. That guy apparently, by all accounts, is another Afrikaans man, another European settler coming in and taking over the land. And he was able to, this Joachim Prinsloo again, was able to benefit directly from this Native Land Act. Directly, because the black people were not able to get their land. So whoever bought those lands would get it on the cheap. That's racism right there. This is racism. Racism is written all over this, writ large. However way you look at it, the policies are racism driven. Prinsloo had sold the land, both gold and diamond prospectors before, and would not sell. However, Cullinan succeeded in purchasing the land for 52,000 from Prince Lou's daughter, who inherited the farm after her father's death. Cullinan was one of the co-founders of the chair of who became Transvaal, whatever. Sir Cullinan made an attempt to buy the land from the owner Joachim Prinsloo, but did not succeed. After Prince Lou's death, he was able to purchase the land for 52,000 naira from Prince Lou's daughter. The Cullinan kimberlite was discovered in 1902. And in 1903, the open pit mining commenced. The mine was named Premier Mine. So it was discovered in 1902 and the open pit mining commenced. So that was where they found this diamond. It's an African soil. And then the location itself is something I want to also make sure you have in your possession. Let me just check this is still working. Just make sure you can get that. So this is where they dug out. That's where they dug out. That's the site they dug out for that. So let me do this so you can see it next to it. So you can see. Because I'm trying to make sure you pin everything and pull all of this together. That's the site where, let me move it up. I need to move it up a touch because that way it's above my head and you can see it in its glory. So that was the mine in which they found that. So you can see the hole. It's, that's why they found it. So they dug and found, who knows what else they found there. What important is this is African land. And remember, Cecil wanted to drive us off our land, and he succeeded. And Africans say no to the Cullinan diamond on Coronation. It is stolen property of South Africa. It must be returned. I think I might adopt it. I might alter it, but we need to get the signature on it. Please help us sign this. I'll put the link for this petition in the broadcaster, in the link when on YouTube. You will see it come up.